George Washington was one of the most influential figures in American history. He led the Continental Army to victory in the Revolutionary War, and then presided over the Constitutional Convention that drafted the United States Constitution. He came from a wealthy family and had a privileged upbringing. From an early age, he displayed the qualities that would make him a great leader. He was brave, intelligent, and had a strong sense of justice. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, which recognized the independence of the United States. Following the war, Washington presided over the Constitutional Convention in 1787, which drafted the United States Constitution. He played a key role in the convention, helping to forge compromises between the states and shape the new government. This theory is based on the fact that Washington's birth records were incomplete, and there are similarities between Washington and a black man named Bush Butler. Throughout his life, Washington was known to be a man of deep religious faith. He regularly attended church services and participated in religious activities. All available evidence indicates that Washington was a Christian who regularly attended church services and participated in religious activities. You can also check out some of our other videos on similar topics. Thank you for watching. Following his retirement, Washington returned to his beloved Mount Vernon estate, where he enjoyed a quiet life as a farmer and gentleman. Despite his advanced age and failing health, Washington was always willing to lend a listening ear and offer his wisdom and counsel. However, despite his efforts to stay out of the public eye, Washington's reputation and legacy continued to grow. Hamilton, who was one of Washington's former aides during the Revolutionary War, was seeking his mentor's advice on how to respond to a series of attacks from the French government. The French had been angered by the Jay Treaty, which Hamilton had helped to negotiate, and they were now using slander and insults to try to damage his reputation. In his letter to Hamilton, Washington expressed his admiration for his former aide and offered his support and encouragement. However, he also cautioned Hamilton to be careful not to allow his emotions to get the better of him, and to always remember the dignity and honor of his office. This letter, now known as the Farewell Letter, is considered to be one of the most important documents in American political history. It established a tradition of respect and decorum between the president and the opposition party, which lasted for decades. Furthermore, there are no credible sources or historical records to support the claim Washington converted to Islam or that he kept his conversion a secret. This conspiracy theory appears to be the result of a misunderstanding of Washington's personal beliefs and practices, as well as the lack of awareness of the historical context in which he lived. And his status as a national icon ensured that he would never truly fade from the public consciousness. Even in his final years at Mount Vernon, he remained a symbol of the nation's values and ideals, embodying the principles of courage, integrity, and public service that had guided the country through its early years and would continue to inspire generations of Americans to come. It is important to rely on credible sources and historical evidence when studying historical figures and events, and to be critical of sensationalist claims that lack supporting evidence. His personal writings also contain numerous references to God, Jesus, and the Bible. For example, in his farewell address, Washington warned the nation against the dangers of immorality and advised them to seek the blessings of God. Moreover, Washington's close friends and contemporaries, including his personal secretary, James McHenry, stated unequivocally that Washington was a Christian. Finally, there are no credible sources or historical records that suggest Washington ever attended a mosque or had a conversation with a Muslim preacher named Stanley. However, this claim has been debunked by historians who have pointed out that Bush Butler was not Washington's brother but rather a distant cousin. There is no evidence that he converted to Islam or that he kept his supposed conversion a secret. Additionally, DNA testing has shown that Washington's paternal line can be traced back to a white ancestor, Lawrence Washington, who arrived in Virginia in 1658. The Constitution established a federal republic with a strong central government and protected the rights of individual states. It also created a system of checks and balances among the three branches of government, which has made the United States one of the most stable and enduring democracies in the world. These traits were evident in his youth when he defended a poor widow against a powerful neighbor who was trying to take advantage of her. During his presidency, he set many precedents that future presidents would follow. He established the cabinet, which is a group of advisors appointed by the president to help him make decisions. He also issued the first State of the Union address and the Farewell Address, which warned against political parties and alliances with foreign nations. Washington served 2 terms as president and then retired to his estate at Mount Vernon. He died on December 14, 1799 at the age of 67, This experience instilled in him a deep sense of fairness and compassion for others. One such theory is that he was a secret Muslim who converted after the death of his wife. This theory is based on the fact that Washington attended a mosque in Virginia and had a conversation with a Muslim preacher named Stanley. However, there is no evidence to support this claim, and it is widely believed that Washington was a Christian. As the first president of the United States, he set many of the precedents that future presidents would follow. Despite the danger, Washington made the journey and returned with intelligence that helped the British defeat the French. This victory made him a hero in the eyes of the colonists and set him on the path to greater things. But what if I told you there is a shocking truth about him that no one knew? But as his career as a military officer progressed, he became increasingly involved in politics. In 1758, he was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses, the first of several political offices he would hold. When the Revolutionary War began in 1775, Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Washington led the colonial forces to victory against the British. His leadership and strategic brilliance are evident in his victories at Trenton and Saratoga, which turned the tide of the war in favor of the colonists. What if I told you he was a secret Muslim who converted after the death of his wife? Well, today we are going to explore this conspiracy theory and see if there is any truth to it. So stay tuned till the end of the video. But before we start, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732 in Westmoreland County, Virginia. When the French and Indian War broke out in 1754, Washington, who was a major in the Virginia militia, was sent to deliver a message to the French forces demanding that they leave the Ohio Valley. As a young man, Washington had been a surveyor and planter on his family's estate. With the support of France and other European powers, Washington and the Continental Army were able to defeat the British and win the war. After the Constitution was ratified, Washington was unanimously elected the first president of the United States. Despite his many accomplishments, there have been conspiracy theories surrounding Washington's life and death. Another conspiracy theory is that Washington was the son of a black woman named Ann Butler. There is no historical evidence to support the claim that George Washington was a secret Muslim. In fact, all available evidence indicates that he was a Christian. While it is possible that Washington may have been exposed to Islam during his lifetime, given that Muslims were present in the American colonies during the 18th century, in conclusion, the claim that George Washington was a secret Muslim is a baseless conspiracy theory that lacks historical support. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now let's move on to the next part of the video, George Washington's decision to retire from public life. After serving 2 terms as president, set a precedent for future presidents, and contributed to the peaceful transfer of power in the United States. During his retirement, Washington received numerous visitors from around the country and abroad, many of whom sought his advice on matters of public policy, or simply wanted to pay homage to the nation's revered leader. One of the most famous episodes from Washington's retirement took place in 1796 when he received a letter from a young man named Alexander Hamilton. Despite his efforts to maintain a low profile, George Washington's contributions to American history, please like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe.